The top management of ENIL joins us, Prashant Pandey, and the CFO, Mr. N. Subramaniam. Gentlemen, good morning to both of you and thank you for joining us. Prashant, before we get into specifics, characterize how things have moved for the quarter gone by. I was looking at the fine print of your numbers and you can't find too much fault with these numbers.
It's been a good quarter, and I think it's been a very good year for radio sector overall and for ENIL in particular. Remember always that when there is an economic slowdown, then radio tends to do well, and we've seen that happen over the last 2 years. We've seen that in FY14 as well. The better news, however, is that phase 3 is finally on the roll. And on 25th April, it was actually kick-started. So we are now really hoping that in FY15, we'll see a lot of action.
Mr. Subramaniam, I want to come to you. Advertising revenue for the radio sector has remained robust. The election ads as well must have impacted you quite a fair bit in this quarter. How is the spending coming from corporates and especially the likes of FMCG?
The overall corporate retail share is about 45 to 55. Corporate is about 45 and 55. Retail is about 55. And last quarter, we had close to about 3 crores of revenues from political advertising.
Prashant, the real tipping point for the radio industry, or especially for ENIL, would be the phase 3. So walk us through that. How will phase 3 change life for the Indian radio sector per se?
Like I told you, the first thing is that the process is already on, and it actually began on 25th April, and therefore it's out of the clutches of any political process now. It's purely a bureaucratic process, and I think that's the great news. The way things are going, I think the auctions should happen by the end of this calendar year, if not earlier. Phase 3 really has 2 major parts to it. One is the fact that there will be a huge amount of geographical expansion, and there is talk that there may be as many as 840, 850 licenses in some 250 new towns. So truly for the first time, FM radio will be available across the length and breadth of the country. The other thing is that there are leftover frequencies in the major markets, and the policy change now allows us to actually acquire a second frequency and even a third frequency if we can win it. So I think these are both good news for a company like ENIL, which has always believed in building brands and which has a lot of cash on its balance sheet to deploy.
So I'm just going to take my next question from that itself, Prashant, because we understand that you're planning to invest aggressively in marketing and human resources in the near term as well. What's the capex outlay for the same?
Well, it's really not a capex thing. It's really like what we mean by marketing is that a lot of money has to be spent in brand building. And if you've noticed the last couple of years, what we have been doing, and you'll notice that we have been spending a lot on brand building. In fact, this year in FY14, I think we increased our spends by almost about 23% in marketing. And we plan to continue to do that. With respect to people, I think people really have been the reason for the way we perform in the radio sector. And in preparation of phase 3, and remember phase 3 recruitments will probably only start to happen 8 to 12 months from now. But in preparation of that, we will be building a much stronger cadre of management and giving a much bigger opportunity for our own people to grow.